There used to be this deli by where I worked that had amazing sandwiches. I'd often go there on my lunch break, drawn not just by the aroma of freshly baked bread, but by their signature avocado club sandwich. It was simple, yet divine. Layers of creamy avocado, crisp bacon, fresh lettuce, and just the right amount of mayo on toasted rye. However, things took a turn when the deli introduced something new to their menu, the avocado ritual. It was one of those culinary trends you'd see on late-night cooking shows, where the avocado isn't just sliced but carved in intricate designs, meant to be consumed in a specific, ritualistic manner for an enhanced experience. At first it was just a quirky addition, but then stories started circulating. People who ordered the avocado ritual began reporting strange occurrences. They'd see shadowy figures in their peripheral vision, hear whispers when they were alone, and some even claimed to see the avocado pits they had discarded sprouting into grotesque, vine-like shapes in their homes overnight. I laughed it off until one day when I decided to try it myself. The deli was quieter than usual, the air thick with an unspoken tension. The sandwich arrived, the avocado carved into what looked disturbingly like an eye. As I ate, following the instructions to consume the parts in a sequence that felt eerily like a chant, a chill crept over me. That night, sleep eluded me. I kept hearing soft, squishing noises, like something was being crushed repeatedly. When I finally drifted off, I dreamt of being in a vast, dark forest where trees had trunks of twisted avocado vines, their leaves whispering secrets in the wind. In the center of this forest was a massive avocado tree, its pit glowing in ominous red, pulsating like a heartbeat. I woke up to find my room filled with a faint, sweet smell of avocado, but there was none in sight. Brushing it off as a dream, I went about my day, but the deli was closed. No signs, just locked doors. My colleagues whispered about similar dreams and the deli owner's sudden disappearance. Weeks went by, and the deli never reopened. The building seemed to decay faster than normal, vines creeping up its walls, not green, but a sickly black. Every so often, I'd catch that sweet, rotting smell of avocado, always accompanied by a whisper that felt like it was coming from the walls themselves. The scariest part? Every now and then, I'd find an avocado pit in my apartment, perfectly placed where I'd see it first thing in the morning, with no logical explanation of how it got there. And each time, the pit would look less like a seed, and more like an eye, watching and waiting. I can't remember why, but for one Halloween as a kid, I wanted nothing more but to dress up as an avocado. My mom, ever the supportive parent, crafted a costume from green fabric and dark brown felt, giving me the appearance of a plump, ripe avocado cut in half. I was ecstatic, parading around the neighborhood with my friends, my bucket filling with candy. That night, after the trick-or-treating, I was too excited to sleep. The full moon cast an eerie glow through my window, turning my avocado costume, hanging on the closet door, into a shadowy sentinel. As I lay in bed, the room felt unusually cold, the air thick with an inexplicable dread. Then, I heard it. A whisper, soft and sibilant, like the rustle of leaves. "Seed," it hissed. I sat up, heart pounding, eyes darting around my dark room. There was nothing but silence now, yet the feeling of being watched persisted. I convinced myself it was just my imagination, the result of too much sugar in the eerie moonlight. But the whispers didn't stop. They grew louder and more insistent. "Seed. Must find the seed." My gaze fell upon my costume again, and this time it seemed to move slightly, the halves of the avocado shifting as if something was inside trying to get out. Terrified, I pulled my blanket over my head, but the whispers only intensified. "Find it, or it finds you." Curiosity, or perhaps some unseen force, compelled me to peek. The costume had indeed moved, the halves were now slightly ajar, revealing a darkness within where there should have been nothing but fabric. With trembling hands I approached the costume. The whispers transformed into a low, guttural growl. My fingers, against my will, reached inside. Instead of touching material, I felt something cold, smooth, and oddly organic. I recoiled instantly as a small black seed, larger than any avocado seed should be, fell out with a thud onto my carpet. The room temperature plummeted, the whispers stopped abruptly, replaced by chilling silence that seemed to suck the very air from the room. The seed began to pulse with a dark, unnatural light, and from it, tendrils of shadow began to stretch, reaching towards me. I tried to scream, but no sound came out. The shadows enveloped me, pulling me into their embrace. The last thing I remember was the sensation of falling into an endless void, the seed's dark pulse the only thing visible in the engulfing darkness. When I woke up, it was morning. My costume lay undisturbed on the closet door, the seed gone. My parents found me in bed, still in my pajamas, as if I'd never gotten up. They laughed off my story as a vivid nightmare fueled by too much Halloween excitement. However, every year since, on Halloween, especially when the moon is full, the whispers return. Seed, they say, and I feel that chilling dread once more, wondering if the seed ever truly left, or if it's waiting, somewhere in the shadows, for the right moment to sprout. Way back in kindergarten, or maybe first grade, I remember we had to do this one assignment in art class where we each made an avocado out of stuff like felt and pipe cleaner. I remember thinking it was such a silly thing to craft, but we all played along, gluing green felt over ping pong balls, adding little brown felt pits, and pipe cleaners for the stem. As years went by, I forgot about that day until I moved into my first apartment. It was a small, old place with creaky floors and windows that didn't quite shut properly. The previous tenant left behind a small avocado plant on the windowsill. I thought it was cute, so I decided to keep it. One night, I was woken up by a strange noise. It sounded like someone whispering, but it was coming from the avocado plant. I got up, thinking it was just the wind playing tricks through the old windows, but as I approached the plant, the whispering grew louder. It was saying, "Grow, grow, grow." I shrugged it off as sleep deprivation and went back to bed. However, the next morning, the avocado plant had grown significantly. It was now touching the ceiling. Days passed, and each night the whispering continued, always the same word, grow. Every morning, the plant had grown a bit more, its leaves sprawling across the walls. By the end of the week, it had overtaken my living room, the branches thick, the leaves dense, blocking out light and making the room perpetually dim. I tried cutting it back, but every snip seemed to make it grow faster. The whispers turned into murmurs, then into a choir of voices. Grow, 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 they chanted, and with each chant, the plant expanded. One evening, I returned home to find the avocado plant had taken over my entire apartment. Its roots had broken through the floor, its branches weaving through the walls, and its leaves had swallowed the light from every bulb. I could barely squeeze in, and as I did, I felt the air thick with an earthy, almost suffocating scent of avocado. The voices were now clear, no longer just whispers. Join us, they said. That's when I noticed something chilling. Each leaf had an eye, and each branch moved like a limb, reaching out towards me. The avocado plant was alive, sentient, and it wanted me. In panic, I tried to escape, but the door wouldn't budge. Roots had entwined around the handle. I ran to the window, but as I looked out, all I could see were more avocados, hanging from the building across the street, their eyes watching me. The plant's branches curled around me, pulling me into its dark embrace. We will all grow, the voices echoed, as I was enveloped by the green, the last light from outside fading as the leaves closed over me. Now, I'm part of it, part of the growth. Every so often, when someone comes too close to our domain, we whisper, inviting them to join us in our endless, verdant expansion. One time in freshman English class, we had to write a poem about an everyday object. I chose to write mine about avocados, mostly just because I liked the way they tasted. But as I began to describe the smooth, dark skin and the rich, creamy interior, something odd happened. The poem took on a life of its own, transforming the avocado into something unsettling. In my poem, avocados weren't just fruits, they became silent watchers, their eyes hidden beneath that tough exterior. I wrote about how they lay dormant in the fruit bowl, their seeds like hearts beating with a slow, ominous pulse. The class enjoyed the poem and laughed at the imagery, but I couldn't shake off the eerie feeling it left behind. Days passed, and the memory of the poem faded until one night I awoke to a soft thudding sound. At first I thought it was just the house settling, but the noise persisted, rhythmic like a drum. I followed the sound downstairs, my heart pounding in sync, until I reached the kitchen. There, on the counter, was an avocado from the bowl, rocking gently back and forth as if trying to move. Paralyzed, I watched as the avocado began to sprout tiny limbs, its skin splitting not in the usual way when you cut into it, but like an opening mouth. A low, whispering voice filled the air. "You've brought me life with your words." The avocado creature didn't move fast. It was more like watching time-lapse photography in real time. It grew, its limbs stretching, the seed now a glowing orb casting eerie shadows. I backed away, but curiosity, or perhaps fear, kept me from running. It spoke again. I am but the first of many. The world you described, where we watch and wait, it's becoming real. The creature then split open fully, revealing not just the green flesh, but a dark void. From this void, a mist began to pour out, spreading across the kitchen floor. It didn't take long for the other avocados to start moving, each one splitting, each one beginning to sprout and whisper. I realized then that my poem hadn't just been a creative exercise, it had somehow tapped into a dormant energy, a hidden potential within these fruits. They were now awakening, not just in my kitchen, but perhaps everywhere. The thought that my words had given rise to this phenomenon filled me with a horror I had never known. As the mist began to rise, enveloping me in its cold embrace, I heard the soft, menacing whisper of countless avocados. We see you now. The next day, my kitchen was normal again, no signs of the night's terror, but I could never look at an avocado the same way. I stopped eating them and stopped writing about them, but the fear lingered, the knowing that somewhere, perhaps in the dark corners of the world, they were watching, waiting, and growing. For our senior design project, I had to come up with a technical solution to make breakfast more interesting. My team brainstormed for weeks, but then, inspiration struck when I read about Elon Musk's latest venture into kitchen tech. We decided to create something audacious, something that could potentially revolutionize the mundane morning meal, the Cyber-Avocado. Our Cyber-Avocado wasn't just a piece of fruit, it was engineered with nanotechnology to grow in minutes, equipped with sensors to detect the perfect ripeness, and designed with an outer shell that looked like stainless steel but felt like the finest avocado skin. It was perfect for the tech-savvy foodie, but little did we know, its capabilities would extend far beyond culinary innovation. The day of the prototype demonstration arrived, and we set up in the university's tech lab, where students and faculty gathered, curious about our peculiar project. As we showcased the Cyber-Avocado's ability to self-regulate its growth cycle, an unexpected event unfolded outside. A sudden, unexplained phenomenon caused the city's power grid to fail. Darkness enveloped the campus as emergency systems kicked in. But then, something far more sinister occurred. Unseen to all, a rift in the atmosphere opened, allowing a swarm of alien nanobots to descend upon the Earth. These weren't ordinary nanobots. They were designed to consume organic material and replicate, much like a virus, but at a terrifying pace. Panic ensued as the nanobots began to devour everything from trees to buildings, converting them into more of themselves. The Cyber-Avocado, however, was different. Its nanotechnology was programmed with Musk's signature flair for survival against all odds. As the alien nanobots approached, our avocado sensors detected the threat. Elon Musk, who had been invited to judge our project, was present. With a calm demeanor that belied the chaos, he took control. "Let's give it what it wants," he said, his eyes gleaming with a mix of concern and excitement. He instructed us to activate the Cyber-Avocado's emergency protocol, which he had designed as a fun feature for extreme scenarios. The shell of the avocado opened, revealing not just the fruit but an array of tiny, self-replicating drones. These drones were programmed to seek out and neutralize threats by absorbing and reprogramming them. As the alien nanobots swarmed towards our lab, the Cyber-Avocado's drones met them head-on. What ensued was a battle at the microscopic level, invisible to the naked eye but monumental in its implications. The Cyber-Avocado drones, infused with Musk's innovative programming, began to outpace and outnumber the invaders, converting them into benign matter. Hours passed, and slowly, the city began to recover as the threat was systematically dismantled. The once menacing cloud of nanobots was now a pile of harmless dust, thanks to the humble avocado that had turned hero. Musk, with a smirk, turned to us. "Never underestimate the power of a good breakfast." His words echoed as the city lights flickered back to life, and the dawn broke over a world saved by an engineered fruit. Our project, initially laughed at, had not only made breakfast interesting, but it inadvertently saved humanity from an alien incursion. Thus, Elon Musk, through his involvement in our project and his foresight in tech development, turned a potential world-ending disaster into just another day in the life of innovation.